So now here, for this app, before moving on to image upload, there's one last authentication related feature I want to add. And that would be logout. So allowing users to log out. Because at the moment, of course, there's no way for us to get out of this logged in state. And that's of course not ideal. Therefore, here in this app, I'd like to add a button here in the app bar of my chat screen that in the end allows users to leave that app. And for that, here in the chat screen, so in the chat.dart file, in this app bar, we can add the actions list to add some actions to this app bar. And here it's in the end just one action I want to add. It's an icon button that I want to add here, where the icon will be created with Flutter's icon widget. And then here it's the exit to app icon I want to display. So this icon here, which looks quite fitting for a logout button. And I'll actually change the color of that icon to use a color from my theme with theme of context, color scheme, and then there the primary color, let's say, like this. And then we just need to add a function here for onPressed. And here I'll simply add an anonymous function. And in here, I now want to make sure that we, do logout. And for that, we can again use Firebase auth instance. We could also store that in a global variable, as I did in the auth Dart file, like this. Here I'll just use it like this though, because that's the only place where I use it here. And then on that instance, we can not just call the login and user creation methods, but we also have the sign out method. And that does what the name suggests. It signs a user out. It logs a user out. And in the end, that will be all we have to do. Because since we're then listening to events being emitted by Firebase here in our main Dart file, we'll automatically switch back to the auth screen as the user gets logged out, because Firebase will indeed emit a new event when the user logs out. It will emit a new event without data because no authentication token will exist anymore. Because Firebase will clear that token when you call sign out, it will erase it from the device and from its memory. And therefore, a new no data event will be emitted, hence will not make it into either of these if checks, and therefore the auth screen will be shown. All that will work automatically because of the Firebase SDK and because of us using its sign out method. So here if I restart, and I then press this logout button here, I'm back on the auth screen. And of course now if I do log in again, that also still works. And with that we get a finished basic user authentication flow. We can create new users, here using a new email address. We can then of course log out and log back in with any valid user we created before, like this. And of course, we also got that basic error handling, so that, for example, if I try to log in with a user that doesn't exist, like this, I get my error message here. Now you can also see all those users in your Firebase backend under authentication users here. You might want to reload this page to make sure that you see all the users that have been created. And you can also delete users from there if you want to reset your application and start from scratch again, for example. But with that, we now got authentication and we can now move on to image upload, so that when new users are created, they also have to upload an image.